In this challenge, I will be pushed to the edge by countless waves of zombies, insanely rare loot rates that will only decrease even more over time, random events, and an endless amount of tough decisions. Join me on this adventure as I start off with 2 nights to prepare myself, then after that, every night a horde of zombies will be headed straight to my exact location, and every night I survive, the amount of zombies will increase, giving me less options and even less time. Once the night begins, there'll be an extremely loud sound emitting from my body that only zombies can hear, and if the immediate area I'm in is not cleared, well, if it wasn't already bad enough, after surviving 10 days, the amount of zombies being added to each Horde Night will double. And in this challenge, there's only one main rule. I have to kill every zombie from each Horde Night. I may not outlast them with barricades or cheese them by running away. I have to fight each horde head on. I also added a bunch of mods to this playthrough to spice it up throughout and challenge me even more. There will be a mod pack in the description, but for now, I have to focus on waking up.
So when you're president, you can operate on a much broader scope. So, for example, you can simultaneously be trying to
I, Xavier Fugadu, start the first day by waking up in a neighborhood on the east side of Rosewood. It was foggy. I found a slice of cheese and a handgun throughout the whole house, leaving me with basically nothing for food. I don't know if I mentioned in detail exactly how insanely rare loot is, but almost everything is set to a fraction of its normal spawn rate. So, to help confiscate, I chose these traits to benefit me, and then some more. And so with that being said, the first thing on my mind was booking it to the fire station. So I left the house and made my way. Yeah, it may be a typical first day move, but I'm not heading there just for weapons. What my top priority is for the first 2 days is to find myself a sledgehammer, which has the highest chance to spawn in the fire station. And if you may be wondering why I'm needing a sledgehammer in Rosewood, it's for this nearby gun store in the south, just outside of town, which will play a huge part in carrying me throughout the first few Horde nights. And if I can't get that sledgehammer, then let's just say I wouldn't be able to keep up. Every time I attempted this challenge without a sledgehammer or that gun store, I would quickly succumb to the zombies within the first 2 Horde nights. So this one item, being the decision maker between life or death, I had to find one. After leaving the house, I head straight up the road, ignoring and running by any lingering zombies. I was determined to my plan, and did not care how many zombies' attention I caught. I then made my way inside. I made it inside? That was easy? There were none in the garage neither, so I swiftly sneak into the storage closet, and to my surprise, oh, there it was! A fucking sledgehammer! There wasn't much for weapons other than a singular axe and a combat knife, but that didn't matter. I had found the one key to my success and my survival. All I had to do now was not fuck it up. I then find a screwdriver, some screws, a file, a saw, and a water bottle while looting the rest of the garage. Before looting anything else, I decided to clear the inside of the fire station. Better to be safe than sorry. I pick up myself a watch from one of the bodies, then head upstairs. Already within the first hour, I stupidly almost get myself killed. Oh shit. So I decided to play it safe and use the axe to take the rest out. After clearing the inside of the fire station, I head up to the kitchen, which didn't have much, but I got some coffee and salmon. Getting some coffee is always a good find, as it can take away any sleepiness fatigue, which will definitely come in handy on the sleepless nights I'm up killing zombies. Taking advantage of the peace and quiet, I take a quick rest to catch my breath and regain my stamina. After my rest, I get up and head straight outside to clear surrounding zombies around the fire station. I wanted to clear out as much as I can around the fire station, as I may end up spending a few Horde nights there as a temporary safe house. I have scouted and planned out a few more permanent places to reside for the remainder of this challenge, but I needed time to collect myself and time to clear out those said locations before I could move in safely. So for now, clearing out this fire station, then finding a car, and raiding the gun store was my top priority within the 2 days I had of peace. I checked the cars that were parked outside the fire station. The first one was in bad shape, and didn't even have a battery. But to my luck, in this ambulance were some medical supplies for me, a bag, and the keys were also in the glove box? Not only that, but the car was actually in really good shape. Just no gas. But in what seemed to be a blink of an eye, I had already gotten everything I needed to raid that gun store. A sledgehammer, a working car, almost. All I needed was some gas. So, in search of that, I went and headed over to the neighboring police station to check the parking lot and to just check the armory as well. And also, since I had to clear the surrounding area anyway, I thought I would kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get it done in one sweep. For some reason, almost all the police zombies had nightsticks on them. Not sure if there's a rate I can change to make those drops rarer, but I'm not complaining. I cleared the main entrance and the inside of the police station, before then axing down the armory doors. Inside was mainly what I expected: 9mm, 308, shotgun rounds, and actually a good quality knife. No guns, but that didn't bother me, as I'm going to be trying to survive as long as I can without the use of guns, just so I can stockpile them for when I really get overwhelmed. I find a better looking bag, then head outside. Unfortunately, there was only 1 car in the lot, but it had some books. I then decide now it was just the best time to clear the rest of the area, as I could take my time finding the gas I needed. After I had fully cleared the police station and around the neighboring courthouse, I ran to a close by bigger parking lot. And the first car I checked actually had a full tank of gas. This surprised me, as after a dozen playtest runs, I had never just found a full tank of gas in any of the cars I came across. And none of the other cars in the parking lot had gas either. So I just counted it as a good stroke of luck. I now only needed a bottle to siphon enough gas to bring back to the ambulance, so then I could just take the ambulance back up to siphon the rest efficiently. Conveniently enough, there was a bottle in the trunk of a close by car, so then I siphoned some gas and walked back to the fire station. As I walk back, zombies are already appearing again, in the places I just cleared out. There were even a handful of zombies outside the fire station too. Not much to deal with, but I had just cleared it in the same day, and respawns are fully off, which just had me curious on how they got there. Then, as I was re-clearing out the front of the fire station, I reached maintenance level 1. Getting high maintenance is going to be one of my overall main goals, next to metalworking. I'll get more into detail with this when it's necessary, but if I'm going to be fighting hundreds of zombies per night, I'm going to need as many weapons and the highest durability I can get. That's exactly why I'm going to be using up all these nightsticks I just found, as they have high durability and low damage, so I can spam hits and gain more maintenance XP. As I'm preparing to get the rest of the gas for my car, I noticed that there isn't much storage in the trunk. While that isn't too bad, I'm just a bit worried if it's going to be enough to carry all the things I'm going to be taking from the gun store in one trip. I also finally remembered to check the fire station medical for supplies. Disinfectant is going to be really important to have on me with the lethal infection mod. That thing can kill you real fast if you don't disinfect your wounds. After pocketing all the medical supplies I needed, I then went upstairs to the kitchen. All there was for me was some frozen salmon. So going the whole day without eating anything, I decided to cook it up, and then rest while I waited for it to finish. While I waited, I wanted to cover some long-term goals we have, consisting of mastering the craft of scrap weapons, which will be especially essential for my survival, allowing me to produce my own melee weapons to use to defend myself with, so I don't end up running out of weapons and get overrun during a Horde Night, which is the exact opposite of what we want. Then raiding the Rosewood gun store, the Northwest gun store, and the prison armory, also as well as finding a base location with a water source and food source. These will drastically increase my chances of surviving for a long time, as food is very low and I will need all the firepower I can get my hands on. By the time the salmon was cooked, it was already past midnight. I then end up eating the whole thing. May not have been the best of ideas considering it was my only food I had in my possession, but oh well. Since I wasn't tired and didn't have to worry about any hordes yet, I ended up just taking my new car to get the rest of the gas siphoned from the other one I found earlier. Just because it was efficient and I wouldn't have to worry about it later. I got the gas siphoned, put it in my car, killed a few lingering zombies, and then headed back to the fire station. Before I slept, I went ahead and prepared myself for the gun store raid, so that I could do it right when I woke up. I then pop a sleeping pill, read a magazine I picked up, and crash. You may be wondering why I'm going to sleep in game so late off the bat and eating a sleeping pill. That's because the sleeping schedule you just witnessed, which was 4 AM to 11 AM, is basically the summed up sleep schedule I will have throughout the whole playthrough. Horde Night will begin at 10 PM on the third night, and progressively will get harder, and also take longer to clear, forcing me to stay up so late. Also will just take a long time, just because I have to kill every zombie from every Horde Night that occurs. But waking up at 10:50 AM, the first thing I do is take a dump. Yes, I somehow managed to add a mod that made me have to take a shit without even realizing it. I'm not even going to remove it since I can't be bothered to find it all in the mods that I had installed for this playthrough, and it's actually kind of immersive. But anyway, after my morning dump, I head straight downstairs into my garage, fill up my water bottle, and hop into my car. Not wanting to waste any time, I just book it straight in the direction of the gun store, which is located just on the south side of town. Thankfully, it's in the woods and not crammed inside of Rosewood, hopefully meaning that there won't be as many zombies there that I'll have to deal with, as this whole operation will take most of the day just transferring items from the gun store to my car. As I pull down the driveway, there luckily seem to be not so many zombies. But after driving down the road straight to the gun store, I definitely want to assume that I let a couple dozen in my direction, so I hop out swiftly and start taking out the zombies in my view. After taking down a few, I start to see the ones I attracted with my car. It wasn't many at all, but it was sure enough to delay me from getting inside that gun store. And time was of the essence. This was my last full day of safety. I take out the dozen I attracted and end up swapping bags with one of the zombies. After that, I then break down the locked door and kill a few more. With it appearing to be clear behind me, I start to destroy the metal barricade with the sledgehammer. I'm in! I kill the lone zombie inside and start checking the loot to see what I'm working with. A FAL? I found a damn effing FAL. This was huge, as this rifle is like one of, if not the best rifles in the game. Mind you though, what I'm urgently in need of is good melee weapons, and I just wasn't finding any. I kept searching, then finally. Oh my god, one sword. One melee weapon. I only managed to get one melee weapon out of the whole gun store. And while yes, it's called a gun store and obviously holds more firearms and ammo over anything else, I've done over 24 playtest runs and always found at least 3 melee weapons. Oh well. In the long run, I'm not mad though, as I made it out with a effing FAL, SKS, M14, Mossberg shotgun, Ruger M77, MAC-10, a few handguns, and a shitload of ammo. Only issue was that it was already 6 PM. I had spent the past 6 in-game hours raiding that gun store, and my time was running out. I had about 1 day left to fully prepare myself for the first Horde Night. So with that being said, instead of heading back to the fire station, I then decided to head straight towards my planned base of operations, aka my future home. Along the way, I ran into a fairly large group of zombies, which I decided to take out then and there. And actually, my main priority is going to be clearing out the area around my future home, so I don't get overwhelmed by any extra zombies that might get attracted during the first Horde Night, or even during any of the Horde Nights. After the intersection was cleared, I had arrived to my destination, my new home. I will be setting up base in the center house of this gated neighborhood on the edge of town, in hopes of gaining a little security from the oncoming hordes with the fences. And while this does prove to be a good beginner's hideout for me to gain my bearings in, it's nothing really to be permanent. And right as I was beginning to clean out the neighborhood, I came across Jason, and let's just say I took his machete, which is exactly what I needed. I have exactly 22 hours and 50 minutes to clear out this neighborhood to the best of my ability, so I have to clear, and I have to clear now. Did I also mention that I badly needed a propane torch and a welding mask? Yes? No? But I don't remember. Either way, I badly needed these 2 metalworking items, and other than setting up a safe place to live, those 2 items were going to be on the top of my list. So while I cleared out the neighborhood, I would take my time clearing out the houses within it. Specifically looking for metalworking supplies and obviously food. But either way, I was guaranteed to come across even a little food while doing so. But when it came to metalworking supplies, I had the rates at a very low setting, making these items overall much more rarer to come across. So coming across a mask or a torch now would be huge. While looting one of the first houses, I find a roadside bag with a chainsaw, another sledgehammer, medical supplies, and then some steak, which I cook and stuff in my mouth, as I hadn't eaten anything since the previous night. After that, I write down on my map with a pin of what I need. It's almost 4 AM and we still have 4 houses left to clear, so I've really got to pick up the speed. So with it already being so late, I head back to the first house I cleared and sleep. I wake up at 10 AM and go to the bathroom. I now have just 12 hours left until the first Horde Night begins. The wakeful, endless sleep traits I chose, on the other hand, work absolute wonders, as I barely got 5 hours of sleep last night and woke up with no sleep fatigue at all. Real life me would have just slept till like fucking 1 PM. After my morning duties, I get straight back to clearing the neighborhood. Coming up on the third house, I checked the garage first and... holy hell yeah, dude. And we're getting somewhere. I know I sound like I couldn't give less of a shit, but I was just so locked in. That was literally a massive find, leaving me with just a torch left to get. I then head inside the house, where it looks like the residents had one less party before it all came crashing down. Some of them had reanimated, so I led them outside to take care of. I'm doing this because this is actually the house I'm planning on moving into. It's surrounded by fences, more houses, and more fences. So it should be the best protected, and temporarily keep out some zombies as they can still break down the tall fences. By the way, almost all metalworking supplies I get will be put towards making melee weapons with the scrap weapons mod pack. Which is why I'm so focused on getting these metalworking essentials, as I'll be going through melee weapons like nothing. And finally, being able to craft melee weapons will basically make for a permanent solution to my weapon supply. So that is top of the list. Searching through the rest of the house, I come across another zombie upstairs. Oh, you tried cutting me off there, I see. Then I check the bookshelf, nothing there. But I find some canned food, a pot of rice, some stale chicken, and even some cereal and beans. I have a snack. Sort some loot I have on me into future prospective storages, then get back to clearing the street. What the fuck? Yo, my SQ is not working. Holy shit. Is it good now? I'm not, dude, I can't trust that. I finish killing the lower end of the neighborhood and head up to a nearby parking lot that I cleared. Wait, it's already 10 PM? I totally just lost track of time, and now it's too late. The first wave is already hitting our way, and I'm completely unprepared. Either way, we're about to see what we're up against for the rest of our lives. And this is just only barely the beginning. Here they come. Only right when they're feet in front of me, I get up and begin my defense. As I'm starting to take on a small bunch, a zombie approaches me from behind, fully messing up my rhythm. That's probably the main problem I'm gonna have with this challenge. Because with this Horde Night mod, zombies can spawn in any direction coming right at you. But so far, it's not a big deal. But I do need to keep my distance just to be safe. In the end, I did it. I had actually spent more time clearing up the rest of the neighboring houses of zombies that lost interest, which explains why it took me until 1 AM to finish. But in conclusion of the first night, I ended up leveling my maintenance to level 2 and short blend to 3. I then head inside to have a snack. After accidentally eating some raw shrimp, oh shit, I whip out my metalworking 1 book and decide to rest and read the rest of the night before I sleep. I ended up reading till 6:30 in the morning. Oops. At this point, I'm just training my sleep schedule. It's 12:30 p.m. I slept exactly 6 hours, waking up with my stomach about to burst. So, I run straight to the bathroom to relieve myself. Ah, much better. Well, today is the second day. I think it's about 40 or so zombies tonight. That is, if we don't attract any others nearby. And to be honest, while I felt like I've done so much, I still had an endless amount more to do. I still needed more food. I barely had enough to last me a few more days. My vehicle was packed with unsorted loot. I still needed a propane torch. And while my house in the moment is safe, it will still be very exposed and zombies could easily just stroll in at any moment. So, yeah, a lot still had to be done. But first, I start off by unloading my car to organize, and just allow room in the trunk for when I needed to go scavenge for more goods. Now, I'd say that's not bad. I didn't want to just plop everything in one spot on the ground, but it also could look better. I'll just have to get back to it when I have more time. Because it's already 4 p.m. Not even 6 hours till Horde Night arrives. I already should have finished the first metalworking book by now, since I needed to learn how to make weapons ASAP. So, I then end up reading with the rest of the time I have left. Oh shit. A helicopter? Now? This is bad. With just an hour left before the Horde Night begins too. Like, this is really, really bad. The amount of zombies this heli is luring over to my area could be hundreds. Even if it isn't to my exact location, the Horde Night sound cue will definitely lead them straight to my house. I need to do something about this, and I need to act now. With not much time to think, I decide to stay and hold my ground, as it was my best bet and I just had nowhere else to go. If I tried to run, it would just only attract more zombies and make it much harder for me, so I had to stay. And it was only just the second Horde Night. Only 40 zombies were going to spawn, so it couldn't be that bad, right? I was dead wrong. The night had begun 30 seconds ago and I had already had well over 40 zombies all around me. Did I really do that bad of a job clearing the area? Was this all because of the passing helicopter? There was no way I had time to think about that now. I need to deal with this before I get overrun by the rest of the incoming horde. God, this isn't working. I had already been fighting the zombies for barely an hour and had been pushed all the way to the other side of the neighborhood. I was on the verge of becoming fatigued and still had so many zombies left to deal with. This was going to be a long night. I'd finally taken out the majority of the horde, and the sun was rising by the time I was clearing out the stray zombies nearby. With the second Horde Night officially concluding, I racked up over 2 times the amount of kills I was expecting myself to come out with. I thought I was going to kill around just 40 or 50 zombies, but that night I had killed almost 90. Not to mention that probably 100 more killed themselves on the fences. Whether or not the helicopter lured all those zombies towards me during that Horde Night, I made a mental note to just be more thorough with my patrols around my fenced settlement, making sure we had no extra zombies coming in during future Horde Nights, as within the next 2 weeks, I'll already be dealing with triple-digit hordes and do not need the extra traffic, especially from those helis. One of those flying by can definitely be lethal. Either way, I was exhausted. I get fatigued so easily and found myself needing to take many breaks throughout that fight. So I need to work on that. I get home, fill up on food, go upstairs into my bedroom, finish a metalworking 1 book, and go to sleep right before 8 AM. God, my sleep schedule's fucked. I wake up right at noon and get straight to killing the zombies that strolled in through the night. I turn on my car, empty the trunk, take a shit, and then hit the road. I mentioned earlier how I was really low on food, so after finally settling down and having a relatively safe base, I felt calm and collected enough to go searching for food. Specifically, well, at the massive grocery store. I wanted to do it soon enough before everything rotted out, and with the power still on, I think we'll be just fine. I basically want to get in and out fast without too much attention, and most of the food is stored in the back here anyway. So far, not too many zombies. I check the doors. All of them are locked, so I just axe down the garage door. It makes a lot of noise. So by the time I get in, I already have zombies banging on the door and making their way towards me. So I waste no time and get straight to pocketing all the food I can. I managed to take everything from the back without any issue and store it all in my car. By the time I come back, the zombies broke through the door, leading to the main shopping center. Right now I'm unsure as to how many are inside, so I take my time, clearing my way to the front of the store. And once everything seems to be clear, I start going through the shelves, taking anything that's edible. As I'm hoping this food I get from here and other houses can hold me off for at least a couple more weeks while I focus on upping my defenses and metalworking. While looting, I get greedy and almost get myself bit by trying to get some damn rice. It was worth it though. I try my best to speedrun the rest of the loot, just pocketing anything I see, whether it's stale or not. I actually ended up finding an energy drink as well, which was a really great find. And after taking all there is to offer, I swiftly exit the way I came. And while I was trying to store everything in the trunk, I kept getting interrupted by zombies. Which I had no idea where they were even coming from. But I took care of them, got my car, and I was out of there. That actually went very smoothly, and I'm not complaining with what I got at all. I'll go over everything I got once we get back home, but my trunk is about filled to the brim with food. But while I had just a bit of daylight left, I decided to hit a detour on my way home, and check out the larger neighborhood on the southeast side of town. Still being pretty desperate for that blowtorch, I just wanted to check a couple garages real quick. I take out my axe and get to work. First garage, nothing. Second garage had some storage containers, but literally nothing of use from them. And while running up to the third house, I then realized what I've come across. I came across a fucking survivor house. What are the chances, man? The third house I check in the neighborhood happens to be a survivor house, and it's in one of the big 2-story houses too. The amount of weapons in here will be juicy, I just know it. But I had no time to check it now. I needed to come back when I wasn't in such a rush to get back home. So for now, I'll just leave a mental note and get back to searching garages. Fourth garage, nothing again. 3 out of the 4 garages I checked had absolutely nothing in them at all. And after searching the 4th one, I just decided to head back. It was getting late, and making all that noise I did had attracted a lot of attention. I do plan on coming back here though, as the amount of loot in these houses added up is well worth the time to clear, especially after finding that survivor house. All I needed to do though was just do it properly and not rush. While I pull up onto the street leading back home, I notice a big hole in the fence around one of the houses, with some zombies hanging around it. This actually surprised me, as while these wooden fences were weaker than the black metal ones, they still had a lot of health. And for there to be a hole this big already after 2 Horde Nights was not a good sight. While I was taking out the zombies, I wonder how bad it would have been, or already was, around my house. I hadn't really checked that far back, but the fences surrounding my backyard were wooden as well. And seeing how many zombies were just hanging around the outside of my neighborhood was just as alarming, making me realize I really have to do a thorough perimeter check every night, or else there will be buildups of zombies like this one, which won't end well for me at all. After I take out the group of zombies, I then instantly drive around to the other side. Horde Night starts in just under 2 hours, and if the outside of my neighborhood isn't clear, all those zombies will come straight for me as well, potentially adding up to a scary number. And it's exactly what I expected. There were a good 20 plus zombies hanging around just outside my base. And shit, there were probably even more hiding away in the woods somewhere, just out of sight. I do my best to take out as many zombies as I can before the horde comes. But it was just too late. When it was time for the horde to arrive, I still had plenty of zombies from earlier just following me closely. And foolishly enough, I thought it was a good idea to burn all of my energy taking them on right before the horde came. So now, not only do I have 60 plus zombies coming to my exact location, I'm also exerted. And right as the clock hits 10, I pop the energy drink I got from the grocery store, thinking it would give me enough endurance to not be fatigued, but I was wrong. It just wasn't enough. I still tried to stand my ground, but it was worthless. I immediately got overwhelmed, so I make a break straight for my car so I can just take it back home and... Holy shit! Where the fuck did these zombies come from? There was no way I did that bad of a job clearing the area. This had to have been from that helicopter. And the zombies just came closer to my house over... fuck it. No time to explain. I maneuver around the zombies, get in my car, and hit it in reverse. Just by the sight of that, I get a heavy feeling of dread, wondering to myself in the moment if it's going to look like this every night and only get worse. Was the attraction radius that large? Was I about to lose all my walls and defenses already within just the 3rd night? I had to push through. I take my car down the road to the other side of the neighborhood and just start killing. I can't just avoid the horde up above. That's literally the only rule, but I can't just throw myself at them. That's suicide. So my hopes were that driving down to the other side of the neighborhood and slowly making my way back up would steadily thin out the herd. And so that's what I do. Fuck this. It's time to do some real damage. After hours of fighting, there were still plenty of zombies around, but it was just so late. I tried my best to clear at least the area around my house to make it feel safe to enter. It seems clear enough, so I sneak my way upstairs into my bedroom. Tired and ultimately stressed over what I just had to deal with, I read one of the magazines I found in a trash pile, which will teach me how to make scrap-bladed weapons, then decide to sleep around 3 a.m. Day 6, I end up waking up really early at like 6 a.m. to use the bathroom. And after what happened last night, I really needed to get as much time in the day as I could to properly clear the neighborhood, so I decided to stay up and do exactly that instead of going back to sleep. Shit. They made a big hole in my backyard fence, and an even fucking bigger one at the house above. Like the whole backside of the fence, it's just gone. After the sight I saw last night back there, I wasn't too surprised, but they absolutely obliterated the whole backside of this fence. I check every house's backyard while shouting into the woods to lead any lasting strays to me. Everything seems to actually be clear back here now, so I then move my attention to the main street of the neighborhood and clear out the rest in my sight. After that, I move my car back into the driveway, after leaving it in the street last night, and then clear the driveway of any bodies, so, I don't have such a bumpy ride coming in and out of my own driveway. Yeah, it's definitely not like I'm almost gonna flip my car in the next day from all the bodies building up. Once I was cleared, I then finally moved all the food I got from yesterday's grocery store raid inside. I had to make 2 trips because I had so much food in my inventory. It was literally blowing my back out.
Look at you.
So, I did indeed have quite the haul. I now had plenty of canned foods, sweets, to save as a quick snack or backups. Even more fresh foods that I stored in the fridge that consisted of vegetables, fruits, and even some meats. I'm going to try to eat through what I have in the fridge first, as power won't be on forever, and I won't want even a bite of my own food to go to waste from rotting and whatnot. And unfortunately, since I had gotten back so late that night before, and let everything sit out in the trunk almost the whole day, some of the fresh foods had already rotted or became stale. Nothing I can do about it now, except be more mindful of it in the future. After assessing my food situation, I spend the next 2 hours just doing some other small chores around the house. I put all my broken weapons in the garage, clean up my inventory, pick up all the shattered glass from my broken windows, and then update my map on all the progress I made. I then decide now is actually a good time to check out that survivor house. I had plenty of time and could use the extra power in case 200 zombies decided to show up at my house again tonight. When I arrive, I take out the zombies in my immediate area and waste no time axing my way into the house. I first get inside. Other than one zombie in the living room, it seems quiet. The first fucking shelf I check, a damn Nodachi katana and a baseball bat. Some other weapons as well, but are pretty weak. This was off to a really good start though. I make my way to the kitchen, boom, a katana, and some food? In the laundry room shelf, a fucking crowbar, Ronin katana, and a sword? I want to get everything in one go so I don't have to come in and out, so I leave most of the things where they are and go upstairs. There are more zombies here. Thankfully, they were all in separate rooms. The first bedroom had nothing important, but in the bathroom just had even more. I don't even know what to say at this point, it's just always the bathrooms. For some reason, survivors love hiding their machetes under the sink? I take my finds and happily stuff them in my trunk. After obtaining all those goodies, I decided to go a little deeper in the neighborhood and have some fun. Not only was I having fun, but it was also productive. While I was clearing the street on the neighborhood, I was able to check even more garages. Still in search for a damn blowtorch. Yes! I had finally gotten the last thing I needed to start training metalworking for scrap weapons. This was actually huge. Took me about a week, but we're finally getting somewhere. Ironically, the garage right next to me had another blowtorch. But it also had some useful metalworking materials, such as a pallet of metal bars, which I believe is used commonly when making scrap weapons, so I take it. But after getting what I came here for, it was time to head back home. I make my way back home, and when I get there, I unload all my new weapons and neatly place them on the dining room table. After that, I finally barricade up all the windows using the scrap wood planks from the fallen fences in the back. then organized all my metalworking supplies and stuff in the garage. By then, the time had come for the Horde to arrive again. So I sat in the middle of the street, eating candy, waiting patiently for their arrival. Once it began, I wanted to use my machete at least for a little, as I'm still pretty paranoid after what happened last night. I want to be prepared for anything. I was taking no chances. It actually wasn't too bad. There were a pretty steady, consistent wave of zombies, but nothing overwhelming. So I'm pretty sure my perimeter checks were working. After doing all of that and seeing these actual results, it felt really good. Even though later down the line it will be unavoidable, in the moment it meant a lot to actually feel like I was ahead of the Horde. But boy, did I not realize how temporary that feeling was going to be. I sit down to catch my breath, before then running back up the street to see what was left of the night's Horde. There were a good deal of zombies breaking down the metal fence from the other side, and it was sure to give in soon. So I let them break it while I killed the remaining zombies on the street. And rest again. They somehow managed to wander all around and into my house. Well, this was just annoying. I really need to think about closing up all entrances to my house. I take out the remaining zombies in sight and get home. I eat, organize some weapons, then sleep. I wake up on day 7, still pretty early at 9:30 AM. It also officially has marked a week of surviving this challenge. Realistically, only the 4th day of this challenge, but either way, it's just only the beginning. I head to the bathroom, then for the first time, decide to work out. I hit an hour of burpees. Looking back on it now, deciding to work out in the morning when I would be fighting later that night was a terrible idea. I thought I would do a good job at timing the fatigue to hit after Horde Night, but later, you'll see how terribly wrong I was. After working out, I then went straight to deconstructing the neighboring houses for metalworking. And as I started... What was that? A siren was going off? I'm scared, dude. I'm actually fucking scared. I had actually no clue what this meant, or could mean, and it was kinda creeping me out. All I could do was deconstruct, so that's what I did. While doing so, the power seemed to shut off. So it's possible that's what the siren was for, but I've never heard that sound on a power shut off. One thing I did notice though was that my character was becoming very stressed. Why am I so on edge? At the same time, I hear at least a couple zombies outside the house. Why do I hear so many zombies outside? So I finished deconstructing and check it out. I don't know. Seemed to be a coincidence with the zombies, so I just go back to doing what I was doing. At the same time, I've been looking into the weapons I wanted to craft first and what materials I'd be needing for them. I need a cordless drill. Have I seen one? But while looking, there was a slight issue I had ran into, which was needing a cordless drill. Now, I know those spawn in industrial locations or storages, but with having such low spawn rate on and little industrial zones all around already, it would just be very hard to pinpoint a location for this item. It wasn't the end of the world though, as I could just craft a higher tier scrap weapon, which would take more metalworking skills and overall more time, but was a safer and more solid route I felt that I could take. So now I'm also aiming to level my metalworking to level 4 instead of level 2, which will now require for me to read the second metalworking book. So now with that being added on top, I definitely gotta grind out the XP as fast as I can. I deconstruct basically the rest of the houses down, and while I'm organizing what I got in my garage, there's a supply drop. So I rush the rest of my chores, jump in my car, and get to it. It's actually right outside my neighborhood. I jump out and scope around. I was worried that the sound of the airdrop being delivered was going to attract more zombies, as I didn't want what happened a couple of nights ago to happen again. Despite my worries, I clear the immediate area and pocket all I can from the drop, then head back home. And as I'm about to pull in,
Oh my god.
yeah, I really need to move those bodies from the street. That was way too close to being bad. Almost immediately after that happened, my ADHD brain forgets I almost ever crashed and is locked in on what's inside these supply boxes. So I opened them. Batteries, flashlights, nice. Okay, I actually need that. Don't be the same thing. Water, MRE. Okay, these seem like civilian supply boxes. I wasn't even mad. I got a lot of essentials, including MREs, water rations, flashlights, batteries, medical supplies, which I will gladly take. I was particularly excited for getting flashlights though, as I've been having a lot of issues with seeing at night in some spots. So having a light in my offhand when fighting makes it a whole lot better and safer for me. I organize what I get and start prepping for the incoming Horde Night. After recently obtaining a hefty amount of exotic weapons, I decide to spoil myself and pick up a katana to have some fun with. And right before Horde Night starts, I get blessed. Yes, it's a scrap machete. I got one of these in one of my previous playtests and it was insane. The damage on it isn't the best, but has unbelievable durability. So now strapped up with a katana and a machete, I get to work. I almost forgot how crazy the katana was. I had a big attack speed debuff and was still swimming through each zombie that came at me like it was nothing. After making a good dent, I sat for a break. I had started to become tired and was fatigued, so I sat and ate some coffee as well. There were a hefty amount of zombies at the parking lot below me that I needed to deal with, so I slowly made my way to it. This was when I realized why I was attacking so slow. I had that damn exercise fatigue. I told you how dumb I was. I planned on having the fatigue when I slept, but I already stayed up so late. So it was just my mistake and overall dumb of me to do it this early in the day. On the other hand though, I had almost reached level 3 maintenance, level 3 long blade, level 4 short blunt, and level 2 short blade, with just being short of 900 kills as well.
Dude.
The rest of the night, I take my time clearing the rest of the area and the parking lot. After that's taken care of, I do a perimeter check around the outside of my neighborhood and deal with the zombies I run into. When I make it to the other side of the neighborhood, I realize that the group of zombies from the nearby bar kept getting closer. So I decided to take them on now rather than later, even if it was already 4 AM. But with the katana, it was easy work. When I think I finally dealt with the rest of them, there were even more around my house again. Finally being done, I had realized that I killed the amount of zombies that spawned in that Horde Night just from stragglers alone. So in simple terms, I killed well over double the amount of zombies that spawned that night. The sound cue that led zombies in was really showing up and getting its work in. This was also the latest I'd stayed up solely killing zombies as well. And since it was getting bright out and I had it in my mind, I decided to hit up the bookstore just to make a quick pit stop, looking mainly for metalworking too. I end up finding it, and then some more potentially useful books for the future. I put my books up, tidy up, and go to bed. Around noon of day 8, I wake up and go to the bathroom. I clean myself for the first time in about a week, then head downstairs and stuff my face to get some calories in me. I don't know if you guys noticed, but ever since yesterday, I had almost constantly been stressed. I had kinda ignored it while fighting off the Horde, but now after still being stressed throughout the time I slept, it started to bother me. And after looking more into my traits and what could be causing this, I realized that it was actually my own trait of choice that came to bite me in the ass. I had a trait called Neat Freak, which I chose over being underweight. I read into it and knew the risks, but on my test runs I never saw any downsides until now. See, the Neat Freak trait basically makes me very stressed when I'm inside a dirty space, whether it be a house, store, anything with walls and a roof. As long as the environment is dirty, I will slowly become stressed out. So now I get stressed inside my own home. I gotta keep this place clean. Why wasn't this affecting me earlier, bro? I would've just swapped off of it so fast. And I don't know why it only decided to work now, but it does. And so the only place in the moment I can go now without being stressed is outside. So with that being said, and having no experience with the cleaning mods, how am I supposed to clean? I now had to worry about figuring out how to clean my own house. But thankfully though, as long as I am outside, I should be okay. And since that's where most of the dirty work is done anyway, I can set the cleaning objective off to the side. I scavenge some gas from my car and then go up to the nearby bar. God, I should be a rapper. But that's besides the point. There was a little horde forming up here and I could use the extra loot. I loot up the Bill Bonds building. Heat up some butter I find. Then take care of the zombies. And after that I loot the bar. I find some homemade explosives, alcohol, and even a noisemaker. On my way home, I do a quick perimeter check and then decide to read some more metalworking. And the mindset I have is the faster I finish this, the quicker I can make my first weapon. And while reading, I walk to the other side of the neighborhood, then clear out any zombies down there as well. When there's nothing left alive within viewing distance, I go back around my house and blatantly read in the middle of the street until Horde Night. And if you guys haven't been keeping track, we're already facing up to 80 spawning zombies tonight. And in 2 more days we'll already be in the triple digits. It started off on day 3 with just 30 zombies and added 10 every night. So we're on 80 zombies on day 8. And by day 10 we should have 100. And like I said, after that, zombies every night are doubled. So instead of 10 zombies being added every night, from day 11 on, 20 zombies will be added. And that's something that's coming a lot faster than I anticipated. Shit is starting to get serious. Oh, I got way too lucky, and after that happening, I just take it as a sign to just slow down. I honestly find myself trying to make it a challenge to kill a set amount of zombies as fast as I can, which is definitely a habit that will end up getting me killed. So for the rest of the night, and since I took out most of the horde, I just take my time, making sure all houses and surrounding areas were clear. After I eat, I go upstairs and catch up on reading. After getting through about half the metalworking 2 book, I for some reason stupidly decide to work out again. I don't know. I then go to the bathroom and finally sleep at 9 AM. I'm pretty sure this is a new record. On day 9, I wake up very late, around 3:30 PM. Today's a short day, and since that is so, I decided to just go and take it easy, and attempt to finish reading metalworking 2 in my car. Because I would be so stressed inside. And so after a few hours of reading, a helicopter flies by, followed by a zombie greeting me at my window. I'm almost done with my book now, making me close to finally being able to create my own weapons. But that helicopter could have just led a bunch of zombies in my direction. So I decided to do a quick perimeter check. Considering how I just cleared this area the night before, there were still a handful of zombies around. Probably wandered in or got attracted by the heli, but as long as I took them out before the Horde Night came, I should be fine. I finished my check right before the Horde Night began, so I sat down to regain my stamina and prepare for another night. Night 9 was pretty uneventful. I had basically fought through the entirety of the Horde with just my scrap machete, and I'm telling you, these scrap weapons are on some next level shit. I did some testing before this run and saw that most, if not all, scrap weapons have 5 times the durability of machete. I don't know if there's a way to tweak the properties of these weapons to tone it down a bit, but just by the fact of how durable these weapons are alone, makes me want to get these recipes down pronto. So I'd have it in my utmost interest to get all these materials I would need, plus just to finish this damn book. I take well into the night to finish clearing the main street, each house, and then the outer fence perimeter of my whole neighborhood. At this point, it's all just routine, and that's a good thing, as now I can actually put my focus on making my first scrap weapon rather than worrying about killing zombies. And by 3:30 AM, I make it back home, make myself a fruit salad bowl, finally end up finishing my metalworking 2 book, do some quick organizing, make another fruit bowl snack, and make my way to bed. Since I finally finished the second metalworking book, I can then finally get to work on leveling metalworking again. So in the next day, that is all I'm going to be focusing on. Day 10, I wake up right before 1 PM. Thankfully, it being early enough in the day for me to go out. I instantly hop in my car and make my way down to the large neighborhood on the east side of town. I specifically needed a lot of propane, as deconstruction and constructing my own weapons was going to take a lot of it. So, I've made my way down to where I stopped myself on my last visit here. This is all of the progress I've made so far, by the way. All the dots indicate that these are the spots I've already looted. And as you can see, I'm checking all of the garages I can on the street first, before hitting the houses, as they are way easier to check first than finding what I most needed. I find some metalworking supplies that I'll need for making weapons, then stumble into a house, which I then proceed to deconstruct. After I finish that house, I start to backtrack up to where my car was, looting and deconstructing all the houses I could that I passed by along the way. The next house I get into has some food for me, and oh my god, a can opener! I finally got a can opener. I literally could not open any of the canned food I had back at home until now. After going through the rest of the house, I started to deconstruct it as well. The whole process is pretty time consuming, but it's generous with XP and materials in return. And by the time I finished with the whole house, I reached metalworking level 3. But fuck, it's 9:30. Horde Night starts in 30 minutes and I'm still looting on the other side of town. As soon as I realized how late it was, I left as fast as I came. I book it home, making it back just before the Horde Night began. But man, I'm really cutting runs further out, a lot closer than I should be comfortable with. I was happy with it though. I'm just one level away from being able to make my first blade, and I got a can opener, so I take it as a successful, productive day. Well, it's now night 10, and we finally made it to the triple digits. I wouldn't have guessed how stressful this challenge would have been. Even in just the beginning, every second counts, and the longer I survive, the less time I have each day moving forward. But to make matters way more enjoyable for me, if you remembered, this is the final night I have before the amount of zombies coming per night double.